Before I introduce this evening's speaker, I just want to make a couple announcements, the first of which is to make sure to either turn your phone off or silence it, please. And I also want to let you guys know about the next lecture that we have coming up in our series. We'll have Kate Bingham-Burt, who is a graphic designer and illustrator, and she will be speaking at Clark on Wednesday, May 21st at 7 p.m. And that lecture will not be in this room, which is our standard location. It'll be in the Ellis Dunn Community Room, which is in Geyser Hall, room 213. So I hope you guys will join us for that as well. I also want to just thank the ASCC for their generous funding that supports this program, and also the Art Talks Committee, the faculty in the art department that put this programming together. This evening we have Rodrigo Valenzuela, who is here to talk about his experience. He's been for the past couple of weeks the artist in residence here at Clark College. Rodrigo left his home in Santiago, Chile 9 years ago, where he was an emerging award-winning artist, and he came to the United States where he was an illegal concrete laborer for a number of years. In the past 9 years, Rodrigo has earned his second bachelor's degree, which was from the Evergreen State College in philosophy, I believe. Yes. And he's also earned his master's in fine arts from the University of Washington in Seattle. Rodrigo is now building momentum as a photographer and video artist regionally and nationally. Notably, last fall he won the Strangers 2013 Visual Arts Genius Award. He's participated in many artist residency programs across the country and shown his work at MOCA Miami, National Academy Museum in New York, Henry Art Gallery in Seattle, and Perspective Gallery in Chicago, among other locations. He's represented by the Brian Ono Gallery in Seattle. Rodrigo's work is currently on display downstairs in the Archer Gallery. Many of you have had the good fortune and opportunity to work with Rodrigo during his past 2 weeks here on campus, working on his collaborative installation that's now on display. Rodrigo worked with hundreds of students during his stay here to create the wall drawings in the gallery, as well as the ceramics tools, and he collaborated with students to create the video piece that is also being shown. So it's just been a thrill and really fun to have Rodrigo here. He's been super comical and personable and fun to be around, so we've really enjoyed our time, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about his work and the collaboration that he's done here at Clark College. Please join me in welcoming Rodrigo.
Yes, Carson? Tell him the gallery will be open. Oh yeah, the gallery is going to be open after this, so when the work makes sense, you can come down and see it again after it's been explained to you by the original source. So this is my studio, not here, but in Skowhegan last year. When I started with kind of the discovery of the new work I've been making. I was doing this very nice photos, and my whole studio collapsed because I have and then I started photographing the collapsing of the building. But first, so I'm going to talk about two different thought processing behind the body of work. I'm going to address a lot of the collaborative work I do, in this case with the students, but I have done through the last couple of years many collaborations with the sculptors, with painters, with performing artists. So I've been working a lot, and I feel since I didn't have like a very formal training in art, I've been doing a lot of collaboration to ways to learn how other artists think. So hopefully that translate in the talk a little bit. But before this, I was doing a lot of, and I have done myself a lot of these performance things. I grew up in Chile during the Pinochet dictatorship, and I grew up in a very low-income housing where you learn from very early age, because of Pinochet, because the transition to democracy, you learn how much media and how much TV and photography is being customized in order to fit whatever agenda. So it's something that you are very. So I always wanted to make images just because I knew that the images can manipulate thought processing. So I was very interested in soap operas and TV shows and the way that mass media affect your everyday life in some way. But a lot of the time I do make art because I'm really bad at explaining my ideas and I'm really bad at writing. So I need to make it as a way of thinking more clearly. So, and I do it, and none of this like ever became art until a couple of years ago. I did photos for a long time, and I never showed the photos. In Chile, I was doing mostly video. I got a couple of big awards when I was at a very early age, like 20, 21. And so with that award, or with that money that I got from this gallery, I sold my camera and I came to the States. I came to Canada, and I started working and living. And yes, for a lot of years, I didn't show my work. So, but I was all the time. I've been having partners or people around my life that like to go hiking, and I never well prepared for these kind of situations. I all the time choose the wrong outfit to go hiking, or just like I think it sounds like a good idea, and I say yes, and then just go without thinking how much I'm gonna be 4 hours outside in the woods with a shirt, with a t-shirt. So I was very annoying, but also I was like wanted to do it. And everybody else was better prepared than me. So when I came back, when I started making photos about this, like that how much is enjoyable going to nature, but there is so many annoying elements that you have to enjoy nature despite these annoying elements. So I wanted to become the annoying element in nature. So I started doing this performance with it's just like could hold on to positions there. So when people try to enjoy the landscape, they could just pretend to be the tree falling or pretend to part of the bridge. So I wanted to become part of nature, so maybe I could enjoy it, but I just could become this disruptive element. All right. So the same. I don't use myself for my physical appearance or any reason besides that. I go alone to places, so I go with a partner. I never have too many people around. So in all these photographs, what you see is like a direct response to the environment. In this case, I was in New Mexico. I was driving around. I was trying to find photographs for my landscapes, areas to photograph. But the cops keep stopping me in the road. So, and I didn't, and I have my green card. I knew that I have my green card with me all the time. So they could ask me for my green card or my papers. And I got annoyed after the third time, so I decided to get a mask and just help the cops to catch the bad guys. So I was there. Oh, when I go to the desert, I was doing this project about walking the border, but then I thought that walking the border was too romantic. So and the way I make it here was a little bit more goofy because I did come to have a better life and to have a possibility of an art career, but also I came for a girlfriend, and it's this kind of how these things happen that I thought I want to move and be happy with her, but then after 3 years of long distance relationship between Chile and Boston, I came here, and after a month she dumped me, so I have to be like that, be hanging out by the side of the road, like I came like playing like a little airplane, like fantasizing the way I came or the way I could move around, So all these photos with myself, they operate also as a small metaphors for what I think around that moment, As I was saying, Ralph earlier, this series, this is called Fixing the Architecture. I went to visit Chile for the first time after 7 years or so of not visiting. And it's a very big city and very tall, and I noticed that, and I didn't want to take photos of just people. And I noticed that there is not enough photographies of people being diagonal. So this time, all the city is like me being it's not Photoshop at all, so it really hurts sometimes. But it takes a lot of. So I just wanted to show you a lot of the work I was doing before these 2 years, where I started collaborating with a lot of people and in a lot of different projects. And I was, and my insertion through this is this process of recognizing how much media has been given to you how much is lied to you. But I'm not against the media line. I just this seems like a very and I'm a really bad liberal about that. I just enjoy the lie as long as we're all agreement with this lie, So I love the fakeness as long. So in this city, I was I found these images that for me they are very set up. In this case, is Robert Capa's falling soldier. That is a complete construction of the American soldier falling. So I went with this photo I had, and I could approach to people. I set the camera, and I could approach to people and being like, "Hey, can you make this pose?" So I keep photographing people person after person and then I glue them all together, in the same setup, so they look like a choreography. They're all dancing to this lie. So the same than this one. This I love. This is a Jackson Pollock painting, and I really like the idea of that this artist posing, making his art. It's like a lot of the time I'm just stumbling around my studio and nothing really happened. And for days, if somebody could just go to your studio, like probably can see you like watching Kanye West videos for a long time, and then nothing happened. So I love the idea that somebody could go and shoot a guy, and like he's working and he's so muscular and interesting, So yeah, that is. I was working a lot, getting people to work in that, and that is the time when I decided to, after my first year of grad school, I went to Chile for the first time. So, and I make that piece. You can see it downstairs. I'm gonna show it very, very briefly.
La necesidad fue algo muy rápido, porque fue incluso un par de días. Por decir, un jueves estaba hablando con él y yo tenía que salir un sábado. Entonces fue así como...
¿Cuántos días tarda uno? Cuando uno llega a la frontera, ahí hay una especie como de hoteles, pero son casas de seguridad de los coyotes, donde reúnen a toda la gente que ellos van a pasar, que será un mínimo como de 80 personas o hasta 100 personas en un cuarto, más o menos, este espacio más o menos.
Dejé a mis padres y todo eso.
Saliendo uno ya no tiene que haber duda.
Tuvimos que arreglar todo, comprar zapatos, comida.
Crucé, yo intenté 2 veces, a la segunda vez pasé. La primera vez me agarraron la migra.
Y pues ahí en San Isidro, al tratar de cruzar caminando a la frontera, ahí fue donde me agarró la migra, que me iban a hacer unas preguntas, pero esas preguntas fueron como
5 días en la cárcel, no nos daban de comer, nada, solo nos daban agua y pues no era suficiente para nosotros.
32, incluyendo a Coyote.
Nos tiraron la comida, todo lo que teníamos en la mochila nos sacaron. Lo del trabajo, que no hay trabajo, no hay mucho. Éramos 16, pero nos separamos y la migra agarró a otros y nosotros nos escapamos. Sí, corrimos porque ya nos venían siguiendo atrás y después el helicóptero nos seguía igual, pero como ya agarraron a los otros que se quedaron allá, estancados allá, pues allá se quedaron. Y fue donde ellos se detenieron agarrándolo a ellos, a nosotros dejaron.
La noche en el desierto está totalmente oscuro. De momentos aparecía la luna y se veía claro el camino.
Bueno, uno nunca sabe si regresar o no regresar.
Caminamos como 3 noches, partes en bicicleta, partes caminando.
Mantenerse uno despierto de noche por estar un poco más listo del peligro, pues ya sea de cualquiera, que pueda pasar un animal o algo.
Dormíamos allá en el suelo, entre las piedras, entre las ramas, allá nos quedábamos todo el día, y ya cuando la tardecita llegábamos, es cuando ya caminábamos en el desierto.
Durante el día se duerme.
Lo más cabrón que pueda decir y contar uno es la sed.
Y luego, bueno, uno nunca sabe si regresar o no regresar.
Me tuve que, todos traíamos nuestros garrafones de agua, pero ya como al segundo día, pues ya nos traíamos.
Caminé 3 noches.
3 días.
Y un día, todo el día.
En el camino miras huesos, miras ropa tirada o cuerpos así que ya están, o tumbas.
Muchas cruces.
Y en una de esas correteadas que le da la migra, digamos, vamos a decir, a veces se desaparta uno de la manada.
Que nos tuvimos que separar el grupo, bueno, por miedo.
Nada más una muchacha se quedó en el camino, como que se desmayó. Y yo la vi, le palpé cómo se sacó los calcetines y todas las uñas de su pie estaban levantadas.
Me da un poco de miedo, digo, yo estoy solo en este país, me llega a pasar algo y no tengo a nadie.
Bueno, sí la dejaron pues, porque la verdad uno que más pudiera uno ayudarle, o es ella o eres tú.
Cuando cruzamos con el desierto, llegamos a la orilla de la carretera ya en Phoenix.
El coyote que nos llevaba nos conectó con otro señor que nos trajo para California.
Es que cuando uno llega aquí por primera vez, uno llega aquí a lo desconocido. Es que cuando uno llega aquí por primera vez, uno llega aquí a lo desconocido.
So, I made that piece and I made it for the Henry Show for my graduation, and I noticed that, well, first, as you can see, there is no voices, there is no talking heads. So, because I wanted to make the story, I brought the guys. I could drive to Home Depot, pick up the workers, bring them to my studio, and interview them for an hour or two. Depends how long they wanted to stay. I pay them fairly well, $15 or $20 an hour, and we can just hang out, talk about random stuff. Usually, I tell them about my story, so I don't have a questionnaire. I don't have too much of a real questions. I want to engage in conversation, and then what I did with information is start cutting my story together. So I decided to not put the voice over. Not put the voice together with the face, because I wanted to make that story feel that belonged to all these guys, or me, not to one particular person. And I wasn't particularly interested in the epicness of one story. So, but also together with this, when I finished the video, I started working in a photo series, and then I noticed that I slowly start feeling nostalgia, and I start missing home, and I haven't missed it in like 6 or 7 years. So I went to Chile, and I started, but I didn't want to go straight to Chile, so I arrived to Santiago, so I flew to Lima, and then I took a bus all the way from Lima to Santiago, which took a couple of weeks. So I was taking photos in the desert, hanging out, and taking my time to get home. And I collect a lot of information. I took a lot of photos. I always have taken photos of landscape, but I could never bring myself to show landscaping as a art or photography. But then I start gluing all these landscapes as a memory, from memory. I have this categorization process where I have mountains, I have clouds, I have sheds, or front. So I start making these images that they feel intentionally nostalgic. I wanted to make them black and white and kind of sad looking, because I wanted to transmit this kind of the fakeness of these feelings. So the nostalgia really don't reside on the actual story of the person. It's more about the collective memories of that space. So they are fairly big images. So this is so you can see the scale of the images, where you also can look at the details, and there is this connection when the size is right too. So I start fabricating these spaces that look like something could have happened or something would happen, but it's just a really place for people like me to put their version of nostalgia. So there is not a moment, you cannot go to that place. You can't go to that place. So that city kind of worked together with Diamond Box to try to make it evident. It's I was still questioning where those feelings come from, where the feeling of belonging come from. And so I started working in this other city called The Worker, where where my dad have wanted to live by my grandparents' house all his life. He wanted to be close, and I never understood that sense of belonging. All the same when you travel around Peru, you see these houses, and the same in Joshua Tree, you see these houses where there is nothing within 3 hours away. but this idea for somebody having a house or having a place where to go, what they call home, it is very. That is not art. Yeah, I start thinking a lot about what it means to like belong to somewhere or like call a place home. So I work in this city where what is the minimum gesture that could be considered to call something a home? You know, where just like throwing pieces of wood could be home. There is a lot of places in Peru where like just the mark of the housing, you know, it's like, or the very American act of the fencing, putting a fence and the things cannot go to one side, that is your property kind of deal. I'm very interested in that because at least for us, like irresponsible artists, it's just like the idea of having a house. It's like why you want to have a lawn and have to cut the grass like every Sunday, or like just have to manage this thing. It feels like impossible just to think about like the maintenance of something. So yeah, I started building these places, and also the piece of wood and everything is digitally composed there. So I don't even know how they're gonna look until I take enough photographs to make it look like something. So working in this city and going to different places, and as you see it, I take it in many different places. So I never have an idea and I just go and develop this city. I find the place and the moment for this series. You know, when I see an empty spot, and these thoughts arise myself from being in this case New Mexico, in that place somewhere in Washington and here in North Dakota. I can work in a city over a couple of years and then probably have 5 or 6 images for that city, but I never just rush to develop bodies of work. They ensemble over time. And it's funny because during this trip, I was there doing this show, collaborating with artist Susie Lee in her solo show at the North Dakota Museum of Art. And we were driving around looking for places, and the economic boom is so intense there that what is happening with the housing and with the market value of things is very disturbing. How much people rather money than living, like having a community, having like a standard of living, having good food, having a partner. There is like all these single men. There is like 99% guys that they are all angry and desperate. And the good thing, if you go, you never pay for a drink because they're all desperate to like meet somebody new. That they just like willing to buy you drinks all night, and they're just gonna buy you the dinner just to like stock something that is not oil rigs. So I start taking photos of the houses they live in. So there is no housing there. There's like everybody just go for models because they have this like 15 days of cheap working and 15 days off, or sometimes they have a month off, but they make enough money. I mean, these people that don't have a house, they live in church, they go to sleep or they sleep in the car, and they're making $100,000 a year. But there is no infrastructure to provide for a community. So there is no movie theater. There is no simple things, So that is how they look, You see the priorities. You have the grill, you have the cable, and there is trailer parks after trailer park. It is a very interesting situation. So this is kind of like the way I transitioned to. Last year I collaborated with so many artists and I did so many projects. That kind of the beginning was with Susie, and before that, like a month ago, I got this grant with my girlfriend Anastasia Hill. We went from San Diego. We were sponsored for University of California to go from UC San Diego to UC Davis, stopping in every UC campus, making work. So we proposed living in this, making work and showing work in this budget rental truck. So we were driving around and showing the work. We did almost 10 projects. Sometimes they all responding to the city that we were. doing a little research, but we really have like 2 days to make all the work. So we could arrive, spend a day shooting, and then edit, and then display the next night. So they were very quick, and they are not the greatest videos I have made, but I'm the most proud, because in 2 days, be able to like also, sometimes there were like 100 people outside, you know, so sometimes there were like one. Sometimes we got press in the newspaper, sometimes we didn't do anything. So this is how it looks. So this is Berkeley. This is Berkeley, and we wanted to show outside of the campus and very close to the Freedom of Speech Park. So we researched a lot about Reagan against hippies, and also the first guy got shot, and how the freedom of speech movement started. So basically we're outside of the theater where the first guy got shot, and I was on top of the truck with the camera, so they could look up as the guy where the guy that got shot could have been. There is a really funny description of why Reagan wanted to thought that Berkeley was so horrible, because people were having these dance parties that were women and men together dancing, and he was horrified by it because they were too dark to dance, and he had this like very sexual description about the bodies moving in the dark, and it's a very if you have the chance, just YouTube Reagan against Berkeley hippies or something like that. It's really brilliant. And this is an this is in UC Irvine. Irvine is one of the most horrible places I have been in my life. And it is supposed to be the nicest place to live.
The idea of open space
and the standard, less violence, more jobs, and it's
during the 1980s, implementing visionary environmental entrepreneurial leadership, the Irvine Company and the city of Irvine worked closely together on an unprecedented open space initiative, adding thousands of acres until more than 1/3 of the city of Irvine was designated for preservation. Irvine voters overwhelmingly approved the initiative in 1988, securing an open space legacy for their city like no other. And later, through a unique series of partnerships with the cities of Orange, Anaheim, and Newport Beach, thousands of additional acres were added to this rapidly expanding conservation network of open space. Open space planning would soon shift again to include species and habitat protection, focusing on large-scale land preservation and linking large areas of land through wildlife corridors. In 1990, the Nature Conservancy, one of the largest and most successful nonprofit land preservation organizations in the world, and the Irvine Company teamed up to study the land and create a comprehensive stewardship plan for the ranch's open space. The innovative plan not only included habitat protection and restoration, but also a volunteer docent program to open up areas to the public, previously off limits to everyone but sheep, cattle, and cowboys. expanding its open space contributions exponentially. In 1996, the Irvine Company contributed 21,000 acres to the Nature Reserve of Orange County, thus creating a massive contiguous habitat area containing a wide variety of rare plant and animal species and the vital ecosystems necessary to support their survival. The 21st century would bring even more significant change to the land. In 2001, a crown jewel in the Open Space Initiative was laid when the Irvine Company designated 11,000 acres of pristine open space for permanent protection in partnership with the Nature Conservancy. This gift was the final link in a contiguous sweep of open space from the coastal mountains to the sea on the historic Irvine Ranch. Vast stretches of chaparral and coastal sage scrub foothills laced with lush oak-filled canyons and rare native grasslands, supporting many threatened and endangered species.
So that is the statement of the Urban Company, the only company that developed on the city. So it is a pretty horrible place to live. Yeah, so I did that for like 2 weeks, living and we took every night we put the screen, put the projector in the back and project, but then we have the sleeping bags too in the back, so we could just take a nap and sleep there. So it's gonna save you a lot of money, but the mileage, you spend a lot of money in the mileage. So, but it was really good experience to learn a lot about the places and just like to respond and make work. The same year, that was last year. I've been collaborating with Anthony Sonnenberg, a very brilliant sculptor. So we did this installation where we start thinking about what we had in common. And what we have in common is that he's white and very big and very gay and like and yeah, and we don't have nothing in common, but we're really good friends. So we and I really trust his taste and his style, and so he started making these tools or like these objects that they have no purpose in the world and they have almost no sculptural value, and then he let me add narrative into this work. And then how we display them is like this. So it's important for me to show you the display because basically what we did is you saw the screen was in the middle. In one screen, he's like, when you walk inside the gallery, you can see him breathing very heavily, and the whole audio you can hear in the gallery is like his basically effort to like hold this big crown. And in the opposite side, you can sit and enjoy this like more beautifully shot landscape where he walk around effortlessly with this crown. That can be a crown, can be a flower, but it's very unfinished sculpture. So it's I liked that unfinishedness, and but also that beautiful piece made him sweat and like made him like doubt so much where he walked. He didn't know. So in some way, that was what we have in common. It's like how we present ourselves, you know, how insecure I am about my accent, or about a lot of things, but about how like I come across, and you know, the self-consciousness that we both have about different aspects of our life. We wanted to present it in that way, that the wall was in the between, or like you have projections and you can see either or. You never get to see the effortlessly of motion, or like, you know, like or the struggle inside. So we present both, but like we don't let the viewer experience both at the same time. So we also work in a different in the same show. We have this other video called Self, where he designed this mirror contraction that he wear in front of his face, and you can see it. And again, the same working with the self or the presentation of the self into the world. You have in one screen he getting dressed and ready to go to the, jump inside the world. And then in the other, this mirror is right in front of his face. So, and the only way that he can walk forward is by looking backwards. So it's a very direct and simple kind of metaphor for how you live in some ways. So was really fun to shoot because I didn't have to get dirty or stumble around, but. So those two works were presented at the same time, and again, the show was called Self, and it was a way to discover what we have in common, and we didn't have any intentions of work together. Besides that, like we talk and we dialogue, and we wanted to, he trusts me and I trust him. So it wasn't really more a collaboration; it was more a trust exercise that he could give me something that he made and let me do whatever I wanted to make. I didn't have too much input in the process of the making the objects, and he didn't have too much input in the narrative of the video pieces. We did came together about the presentation of the work. So yeah, that was how it was presented. It was very, very nice, beautiful presentation where they look like floating paintings in some way, but also it allow you to walk around the screen. So you experience is also part of the body. Oh, this is I really love this one. This is food for thought. It's the City Arts magazine asked us to make a performance, a video, or like something, and I was collaborating with this artist Clara Klosava. It's I think she's from Czech Republic. So, but we wanted to like kind of remark on this on this art festival thing that it is for artists by artists, and at this point it was made kind of in the International District, kind of downtown area where there is a lot of most of the artists don't hang out in that area, and they don't bring business to, like, they don't bring their economic power to that area. So we proposed the idea to have a cafe or like a like a restaurant in the venue where it was all the shows. So we have they give us like 4 or 5 tables to have but since we don't have a food handle permit, what we did is make a menu that is really huge as you see it. It's really big menu that have all the menus from the restaurants around the area. So when they come to our restaurant, they pick a restaurant, we get it for them. We get food from other places and we just run and get it. So the service was really fast because usually takeout is a lot faster than like sitting in a restaurant because you don't have to do the bring the water, what you want, whatever. So they order, we call, and then that is the trailer we did. We made a lot of money too. So yeah, that was food for thought, and it was like really fun to make. And that is kind of in the same vein of working with the students here. You know, like was really great to make work with them. Like just have an idea and let people do it for you. I mean, it's the same that these other people, you know, ordering food, like they are willing to eat around there. It's just like they're not willing to go there. So if they can go like in this way, and trying to with these collaborative projects, it's almost being like a cultural middleman, where like I facilitate things, but it's not like doesn't have too much to do with like you know, relational aesthetic, or it's just being kind of like lazy, but also practical about how things can get done. So 100 people will get done a drawing a lot faster than me by myself. So it was really good experience to like look at this work, and during the time that we were here, thinking about how, you know, reflection on me too, how like you make art and how you think about the work. In this case, when everybody was drawing and having a little corner to draw, and something that, you know, with Damian and Grant and Jamie was kind of trying to talk about it was that you can't worry about your own corner, right? It's like even if you when you enter a lot of projects, you don't think a lot about the common goal, or like what is going to be the best for the whole wall in this case, or the whole situation, what's going to be the good art that society needs in some way, and rather than like what you like want to make. So in this case, just trying to like realizing after the first day how many people step back from the drawing and notice that the thing was completely dysfunctional and didn't look like a drawing, was like corners of styles that unify by some weird outline, and just having people that directed, like having Grant or like or Damian and Jamie stepping up and like kind of direct the students and kind of help to like unify it. But unify it is also came from the students understanding what needed to be done to like actually in some way attach to the source, like looking at the image and being objective about what the image needs, not what they wanted to do. You know, there were a lot of people that wanted to impose their like semi-pictorial reference or like, you know, the rapper attitude, and like they wanted to impose their personality onto other people. So there were not a lot of looking to the right, looking to the left until the second or third day, where like things start coming together, where people saw that like it could be possible to make a drawing among like 100 people, you know. So the same with the tools in the floor. It's very interesting to think what people interpret as a tool. How like when you say just one simple word, how like that word manifests in the world. You know, like some people make a key change, and I'm like, oh, that's not a tool. It really cannot fix anything with that. But then I was like it's gonna look like also it's like random knickknack that you find in your dad's like toolbox. There is like so many things that he considered tools. He was opening something with something that are not meant to do. You know, so a lot of the exercise I put when the examples was trying to make these tools non-functional. And there's still people wanted to make it functional, or wanted to make something that resembles functionality. This attachment to like reality again, you know, that is so hard to step out. But it came out really nice. I mean, I really pleased with it. This is you can see it down there. Is the process of making it, and we have some more film stars here. But it's really great. Also, the white shirts, you know, disappearing within the landscape, and this slowly gonna come out. The work is something I wanna talk in the next part. Is that the uniforms, or like not uniform in this case, but the outfit that allowed the students to disappear into the drawing is something I'm particularly interested in. And disappearing into the work is, I think, is the problem of kind of like our society, how we can like want our rooms completely clean, but not questioning who clean it. You know, in this case, this landscape will show up, but you have to question how many. There is no index of how many people work, how many people did this work, how much work it took. You know, there is no accountable hours for how much it worked to get this done. So in the next CD, I will show you after the video is done, I've been questioning, and with the movie, I've been working Maria TV, I'm questioning too, like how, what is the value of work? My dad is a mailman and my grandpa is a carpenter, and I remember kind of being ashamed of their job because and they don't make a lot of money, and they do the same thing over and over, and like, you know, the idea of like bringing your kid to work for my dad was like a weird thing. Like he brought me to like help him to deliver letters because I was cuter, so they could just like, you know, bring a 5-year-old kid to like bring you the letters, they're gonna give a bigger tip. Like mailmen's work in Chile by tips, you know. So, but in some way I have found the relationship between like my dad and my grandpa's job to like what I do, how to teach art in some way, because I never knew what he did with the letters, how he organized the letters, how he, like, it seems really simple, just like grabbing a stack of letters and just dropping it to the address. But he had this like way that like he organized the letters very fast. They all came in a pile and he could move his hands. So yes, almost learning the job of the bellman or the carpenter is not about like learning how to make, how to read the, you know, the blueprints of the table or learn how to deliver the letter. It's about learning how he put the fingers between the envelopes, you know, how to like, how much pressure he put in the wood. So like in some way it's like realizing of these jobs, what it takes and the value of them, it is something I'm interested in the making work. In this, I make this video.
It literally, I felt every day going to work.
Where everybody's talking about their shitty jobs.
Every day. It's different being a female in a male-dominated job. At the time when I was in there, you're not really, females didn't get the hard labor jobs where you got to do the grunt work. They tend to got the secretarial jobs, and I hated it. It's a lack of respect and equality that is not present. And to have an opinion, you can't have a personality. They will do anything to make sure you don't have that. And that's why I call it soul sucking. You do lose a part of yourself if you're not good at grounding yourself at that moment with this type of job.
Make something. In Chile, my job was basically I worked for a ski resort place and just getting people to go ski.
Yeah, like I just like walked past him one day before he even started that whole shitty thing. And he just like brought it up like that, said, "I ain't afraid of you." I was like, "Okay, not afraid of you either. I don't care."
With being late,
and then, like, one day,
if you're really late, that is something that can get you sent up. To get basically, and that's kind of talking back to someone higher rank, that will send you up. That's what set me up.
People come in and they want. During the day, I would basically they would tell me to go out on the boat. My job was basically to border protection of Colombian pepper. There's 5 of us on the boat, and my job was just driving, making sure that if there was a boat to pass, that we can check into the checkpoint
situation, and he accused me of something across the line as far as me being a parent, and I lashed out and yelled at him. So you definitely want to keep your calm, because there will be things that are going to be said to you that you got to keep telling yourself are not true, that they're saying this just to get to you.
So that is their experience in their shitty jobs, and in some way they assume that your job should be shitty. If not, it's not. You know, like it's going to work is shitty. Like doesn't matter what you do, you all the time find a way to complain. And that is what we're talking about before come here about this American thing that is go celebrating when you get fired, or when you quit your job you go celebrating. You know, that doesn't happen in any other culture. I've been bringing back workers to my studio and trying to make this work that is about disappearance of the work, about the disappearance of the labor, using the green screen as a metaphor for the images that being produced to us about the success or satisfaction. These guys are hired to make it, to build it and paint it, and their labor gonna disappear, and the thing that they build, it will disappear in the long run. So these images about building desire, building illusions, but without any of the gestures of the labor. In the same case here, where I invited them to play soccer one day, and we all play soccer, then I raised the ball. So in some way, the ball also is this symbol for desire, right? For the wanted thing. So as soon as the wanted thing disappear, how the physicality of desire looks like, how what you want looks like outside of that when you remove that thing, what you do to get those things. So and they're not different. I thought they're stylistically different, but under the same track of thought, I was building these studios and these sets for things to happen. There are stages for things to happen, but I wanted to incorporate the viewer into the decision-making process. I wanted to break the hierarchy between me building an illusion and the viewer just swallowing this information. So I wanted to zoom out to let people see the process. I mean, even if the process is fake and there is elements of fakeness within the process of making, but a lot of the time, watching the making of a Steven Spielberg movie is much interesting than watching the movie itself. So I wanted to try to translate that where there is the word in some ways already composed for you. You see a lot of things as beautiful or ugly, but you do these aesthetic judgments all the time. So I wanted to build these experiences through photography. Whenever I have in all of them, I have this really silly pictorial reference that I don't want to disclose because it's kind of but it's just for fun, because when you spend a couple of days working in each image, you have to amuse yourself beside playing with wood. There is so much you're gonna love the wood. You have to figure out a way to find inspiration in putting good diagonal or vertical. So yeah, and I take them outside sometime. And this was last summer, and I haven't shown this one. I don't think I'm gonna print it, but I really like my friend Ronnie helping me to make something. And I don't know what we're making or where we're going, but yeah, it's another team of workers building an illusion. And I think Ralph helped me with this one too. Remember you were walking one day? Yeah, so I built these forts or these places where people could hide, but they also are digitally composed. So the fort or the place don't really exist. And then I just the rest of the works you can see them downstairs. But yeah, I'm out of time, so I don't want to overpass. It's 8 o'clock. Thank you for listening. Is the question thing happening? No? Should we? Yes?
Yeah, there's that image of the landscape that seems to be the one that you continue to use. What is the significance of that place for you?
Well, I construct a lot of I construct a lot of these landscapes digitally, so they don't really. What I like is these places don't exist, but they look pretty. You want to go there, you want to visit, even they are places that are not comfortable, they are not easy to get. They are, and ultimately don't really exist. So I like that. I have tons of these landscapes. They don't look a lot different, but there is elements that repeat. Really landscape. The desert. I never have lived in a desert area. I grew up literally downtown Santiago, as the center. I could walk to the national park, to the government house. So I never enjoy nature or went to nature when my family didn't have a car, so we didn't went day trips or anything. So Yeah, in some way, the desert to me means that this place that like people think as a vast, as a sublime, but it's like nobody wants to live there. Nobody wants sublime in the end. Nobody wants this like this excess of freedom. In some way, you need and that drawing the landscape was a good example. It's like when you let people go like draw what they see, they still need some control. They still need somebody to like guide you through it. And that's why even artists have to have a studio visits and have to have this level of like talk, so the ideas can leave you out, and then you can see them, and then you can regret them later. Yes?
Why did you choose, when you made Diamond Boss, why did you choose black and white instead?
Well, technically, it's because I shoot it with a tungsten light, and I have like very a small space to shoot. My studio at the time was very tiny, so I shoot it with tungsten and like having the, also to even the skin colors and control the lighting, it was much easier to shoot in black and white. I shoot black and white film because it's cheap and I can develop myself, and I know exactly how it's gonna look, and a lot of my photos end up being black and white because my insecurities. I want to know exactly how they're gonna look. So it's just a matter of economy, and like I don't have any particular love for black and white for the grain. It's just like I know how it's gonna look, so I just keep doing it. Somebody else? Yeah.
The light bulbs have a special meaning for you.
The light bulbs? Well, not the light bulbs itself, but it's the idea of making a kind of like a cheap shady chandelier. It was interesting to me. I'm doing this project in the summer where I go into this house. I went to upstate New York for a residency, and I proposed to do this work inside this house, kind of like royalty house, but like American royalty. I don't know if you have seen the movie The Grey Gardens, or like movies like that, where like the people keep believing that they are better, but they are like poor and they haven't worked a day in their life, but they're like they think they're better than. So I know a couple of these houses that they're mansions that people have been living on their like old money forever. So they have chandeliers. So I'm really interested in that. That's what they have. That's what they have that I don't have. They have a chandelier.
Can you talk a little bit about Maria TV?
Oh, why? Go ahead. So this is Maria TV, and it's experimental soap opera, like a telenovela, where I give an acting coach to all these ladies. And then I was very removed. I was observing their interaction. I proposed these 3 instances where they have team building exercise. They have through playback theater. This is type of theater that's pretty much team building exercise, where they feel confident and they learn how to express their feelings. Sometimes through non-verbal communication, they can express themselves. So I will, not all the time, not in the whole movie are with these uniforms. This is the part where they already start rehearsing for the soap opera. So I have this couple of scenes from a soap opera that they want to represent. They want to be, basically the whole video is a rehearsal to become more like a scene on TV. So that people can become more as a maid. A lot of them, they are still maids. Some of them, they were maids. They have worked as nannies. And the idea is that one day they will be the nanny as everybody understands them in TV and not as they have been. So in some way, TV have keep portraying the working female as like domestic or like a domestic worker. And a lot of them, she worked for the city of Seattle. A lot of them, they're like, she have a production company. They all have started when they come as immigrant, working as nannies and taking care of babies. So it's pretty interesting what happened to people, why, how, like basically a lower class can raise this kid that is, how you can like build up a human being that's gonna have this set of skills with like this set of skills, right? When you like assume that like people, you know, I have no idea how to be rich, so I cannot teach the kids how to be a rich kid, you know. But like in some way that happened, you hire these undereducated, lower class people to build these like human beings, and like and sometimes it works, sometimes doesn't, and it is very interesting what happened with the economic system that allowed that to happen, you know, when, where the classes collide or they help each other without actually like whip each other itself. So yeah, the video is it's not a comedy, but it's not a tragedy either. It's just like it is an exercise on identification and self-representation through media. So yeah, I hope it's good. I don't know. I have to edit a lot. I have a month to edit. So I'm gonna start it next week or 2 more weeks. But they're all really great, and you know, it was very therapeutic. Some of them were crying, some of them were laughing, and it was really great to spend the whole day. Each day of shooting cost me a lot of money, so I have to be very precise about how I do it. So yeah, I'm working on this, and I hopefully it's gonna be a 20-minute video, 30-minute video where you know, it's the first time I'm working with a budget, so it's kind of scary to know how to spend money. More questions?
The gallery will be open though after the talk, so if you haven't seen Rodrigo's work yet, you're welcome to come down to Archer and see the work that he's collaborated with our students on some of his previous work as well. So thanks for coming.
Thank you.